Привет из Сингапура! С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about online services and let's start with the definition.
Everything in this world goes around. It was a time like 25 years ago, and you couldn't approach to the computer. There were just mainframes and terminals, and you wait your times, and you have a keyboard and a monitor. You put some task and wait until it would be processed by mainframe. Then we have personal computers, and now we have online services. It's almost the same. For example, my computer is weak or maybe not modern, and I should prepare some kind of drawing or maybe some Archicad style building information models and so on. And I ask huge services on the payment base or maybe on the freemium model to make it for me. I put the task and I wait, and then I got the result, and I could download it or just to look it. It depends from how I paid or not. It is very funny because some of these tasks you could order, for example, through your Mac or through your small gadget, and huge machines will do it, and you will got a downloadable file which will present work you asked for.
And when we're talking about maybe something which is a smaller in terms of the scale, comparing on the online services, whether it still makes sense to have some sort of like offline services, aka software programs, because at certain point of time, I do believe it might be a situation when this the stability, the quality, or maybe the pricing model, or maybe the functionality might not be enough, but it will be so critical in the workflow or maybe in the life to use the specific tool so that there is no way to go around either other than that to then become autonomous and do everything on your machine. So again, like to summarize my question, like what should be the balance between online, offline in terms of to be less dependent?
Let's take into account several tasks. For example, you have PDF, protected document format, and you want to take the password off to maybe take some part for your dissertation, for your diploma, for your coursework, and so on. And you will try to find a program which will remove the password. And it is what was not easy. Maybe you will find, but some of them would be old, and they will not remove the password, and you will become upset and angry. But if you will search for online service to remove the password from PDF, you will find plenty of them. And the main reason why, because to remove the password from the file for ordinary person, it's like a 1 year task. Not often you have an occasion to remove the password, but the guys who make money from this, they take files all over the world, maybe like 1 million files per year, and they just best in it. Another way, for example, you use Microsoft Word or some other application software to spell check your document, and you want to know if it is good or not. There are plenty of different programs, for example, Grammarly made by Ukrainians, and you will see that after the word you will find some errors, or for example orfo or orthogramka, a lot of. And another way, for example, you are a web designer and you're trying to put some pictures on your site, and suddenly you found that all of your beautiful pictures in total they occupy disk space like 5 gigs, and you are not happy with this. You will go to some online services and they will compress the files, for example, twice. You will have almost the same quality, but size would be smaller.
So I guess it's always about ROI, like return of the investment, and considering all of the cost and consequences in order to find what really works best for you at a certain scenario, at a certain period of time. So now let's talk about fundamentals of the online services, like what exactly they are and what makes them efficient.
First, your service should provide the service. It's almost like calembour. Is there any words in English for it? Calembour?
Pun intended.
Pun?
Pun.
Okay,
Pun.
pun intended. So if you want to make service, you should think what will be often be used by different people, but in crowd mode, not in single mode, but in crowd mode. We have already several examples: spell checking, or removing passwords, or compressing the files, or even restoring the password from Microsoft Excel or Word. Second, you should think what you could add to your service. For example, if I will try to remember the password for zip archive on my notebook, I will got like 20 million password per second, but it is not enough, and I would spend maybe 1 month during which I would be not allowed to work on my PC. So I could ask some much more powerful services to make it for me, and they will make it like for 1 hour. So they will use like, I don't know, 64 or maybe 128 CPUs to break the password by brute force. So it is a high calculation value. And third thing is about memory. When I was trying to process 1 year ago data from GeoService to GIS in Russia, I was having a lot of requests all over the country, and my notebook was unable to show it on map. I just asked Google, and suddenly in 11 hours, I got a map, interactive map with all dentistry in Russia.
And when it comes to the level of mastery of using online services, can we look into it from the person point of view, like whether what is the complexity of the task that they're trying to solve, or maybe we can have a look in how they're trying to solve it. Maybe they find some unique service that can just address the specific area, or some sort of like a Swiss knife that can address one task and maybe like a few 100,000 more.
Unfortunately, we are looking always for Swiss knives, and if we do some kind of work, we have two possibilities to find the online service. First is to look by ourselves and to check a lot of them, and it is not easy task. My advice is to test at least 20, and it will take, I don't know, like maybe even 5 hours in total. And second, we could look for journalist works, and sometimes they are paid, and you will find not the best online service, but okay, it will work, but on the payment base. But a lot of services free and more work for freemium model. What does this mean? For example, you want to compress a lot of files, and you will upload them, and suddenly you will get a message: 5 of files you will compress today, and 5 more it will be tomorrow. Or you could pay, for example, 20 cents, and you will get same amount at once.
True, indeed. I do believe at a certain point of time, like when you read some articles, it seems like they just like copied each other, and the initial article was done by some sort of like a early grade student who was like so lazy, so that he just like Googled for something for 5 minutes and didn't cover the basics of your needs. So it's always good to do some sort of the research. And in terms of the future, like how online services would evolve with a period of time, whether it will be some sort of, like a modularity, or whether it will be some sort of like I could recognize the term that you mentioned, like a one window where you make your request and you get what you need, and the system might be even recognize your context and maybe provide some another relevant services that you might be using in the future.
It was a time like, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 years ago. I was in Austria, I was skiing, and suddenly I was in urgent need to write several letters in Russian. But I have no notebook with me, but I was in the hotel, and there were some small equipment like informational kiosk,
Display, information
information display, and I found the way how to go deep to Internet Explorer. It was before Chrome and Edge and other kind of programs. And suddenly I found online service in which you could make your temporary email inbox, for example, for 20 hours, and you could switch keyboards, and you just push not keyboards in real life, but keyboards on the screen, and I successfully complete the task, and I was so happy. And when I was back to my computer, I was trying to find the same service. It was an Austrian one, and I found this is a service which was involved like, I don't know, 300 or maybe 400 other services. It was a completely Swiss knife. A lot of them were made completely in different interface, completely by different people, but it was a single point to enter, and it was funny. But if you are working with some kind of professional stuff, you will need a single one window. For example, Prezi. This is the way how to make a presentation much more powerful than in Microsoft PowerPoint. But also there are two levels of mastering. First, you are paying nothing, and you could show your presentation just when you have an internet. And if you will pay, I don't know, like $5 per month, you will be able to upload and to show it from your computer.
And when it comes to this thing, they called it elephant in the room. So there is like, let's say there is an area of the services that is widely provided on the internet, but there is something that everyone needs, or maybe it might be not even the service, but maybe like a half of the service everyone needs, but it doesn't exist. And it's okay to say that it could be some sort of abstract thing. So if this such a unknown big thing exists that people could benefit from, but no one like haven't even been thinking about it, what it possibly could be.
It was like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I have a colleague who was working in telecom, and suddenly he came to me and asked, what if we will make together with you translating software that will help people talk through the Skype on their natural language, but we will translate it. And his name was Larry, and we named this service Larik. And it was like artificial person. I'm making call to Maxim Golub, and I don't know his language. I also call to Larik, and Larik knows several languages. 27 we implement. And so when you speak distinctively and loudly, it would be translated in a very funny mode, but anyway, it was. Even now, I don't know, services which will help you to talk through the Zoom or through the Skype with help of artificial intelligence and automatic translation.
It also reminds me of one of the cases that I was solving during one of the interviews. So they were asking like, how can you improve the video call stuff? So a couple of ideas that I gave is, yes, to have this some sort of helper, but who will be giving you all of the additional context? Let's say like taking all of the meeting notes, sending them to the recipients, and maybe make it more like individual so that you know exactly what is your task. Or maybe let's say when we talk about certain event or certain document, it actually would be bringing this to the screen and maybe highlighting the relevant items. So basically, we can think of it as the smart, very, very smart and proactive secretary that sits and actually do all of the things for you. I don't know, maybe it could be a nice idea. Last question will be how knowing about this skill could help to make this world a better place.
If you live on the same territory, if you are not traveling a lot, if you don't know languages, you could think in a small window to the world, like from the submarine. But if you know sites which are great in China or India, or maybe in Australia, Argentina, you will know that the same services are not available in your country. So this is your chance to make transferring of technology and to make people happy. Or, for example, to create a single window, as we talked with Maxim before, to create a huge portal with a great amount of different online services. And people will know if we have any difficulties in my job, I could go to this service portal and to solve my issue.
А мы рассмотрели навык онлайн-сервисы и чем он может быть полезен именно вам. Всем мира!